Do you think your metabolism broke after 40? I'll tell you what, it didn't. You just need to reset your hormones the right way. Hey, I'm Trevor Buccieri, and after working with nearly 30,000 patients, most of whom have tried everything from diets, workouts, pills, powders, and potions, I know what actually works. And these are women who were stuck and women who were frustrated, and they felt like nothing would ever actually work for them again until they did this. And the results? Over 600,000 pounds lost, more than 133 inches gone just from their midsections alone. And the thing is, most women think that actually weight loss stops working after 40 because of aging, but that's actually not the real problem. Your body is not broken. That's the great news. It's just been actually working against you because your hormones are out of balance. And if you don't fix this first, no diet, no workout, or calorie deficit will ever get you the results that you want. How to reset your hormones and fix your metabolism without starving yourself or killing yourself in the gym. And here's what actually works. We talked about this, cellular detoxification. Now, this is the foundation for fixing your hormones and also making your cells be able to actually absorb nutrients here. So it starts with this, flushing out the toxins that are actually messing up your metabolism with that full systemic cellular detox like we talked about. We use a specific tailored detox system, which basically goes from the inside out of the cell, and it basically heals it and resets it, literally like a system reset. It's amazing, so that the cell's functionality gets restored. And that's really what it's all about. Also, rebuilding that gut health. We talked about gut health a little bit before as well. We're talking about prebiotic foods, which are going to be fermented foods. All right, we talked about probiotics, which you can use as a supplement. And we also talked about magnesium. And magnesium is going to also help keep you regular as well. These are going to be a great start for gut health in terms of rebuilding the gut so that your body actually is able to absorb nutrients properly. Because the thing is, if the gut is not functioning properly, meaning we have the right bacteria balance in our gut, our body is actually not going to be able to break down food properly, and it's not going to be able to actually absorb food properly. It's not going to be able to transport the proper nutrients to the cell so that the cell nutrient receptors can actually grab those nutrients and absorb them into the cell and actually use those nutrients as fuel. All right, without the gut functioning properly, that, what I just talked about, cannot happen. So again, we're going to flush out the toxins with a cellular detox. That's going to decrease that cellular inflammation. It's going to make that cell membrane basically not inflamed anymore. The actual nutrient receptors are now going to be exposed and they're going to be functioning properly, because the second thing we talked about is rebuilding that gut health so that we can actually break down food properly, extract nutrients properly, take those nutrients and deliver them to the cell so that the nutrient receptors can actually take those, put them into the cell, and the cell can use those as fuel. And third, it's restoring hormone signaling. And that's going to actually happen from that systemic cellular detox right here. Because when that actual cellular inflammation goes down, also the actual hormone receptors on the outside of the cell are also going to be restored so that we're actually able to receive hormone signals from the body, and our body is going to be actually able to take those hormone signals, bring them into the cell, and communicate with the cell properly so the cell is going to respond properly, and then our body is going to be able to naturally burn fat again. So that was cellular detoxification. Now, secondly, when we're talking about how to reset the hormones and fix the metabolism, we're talking about the right fuel, not just cutting calories. In fact, not cutting calories at all, quite frankly. It's eating for hormone balance here, not just for fat loss. We're focusing on lean proteins. We're focusing on fruits and vegetables, not crash diets here. And again, we want to make sure we're talking about taste-centered, things that actually taste great, because when we're, say, just cooking proteins and eating an apple and eating a head of broccoli, well, that doesn't sound interesting at all. So what we've done actually with our taste-centered clean eating program, we've created hundreds of different recipes for lean proteins, hundreds of different recipes for fruits, hundreds of different recipes for vegetables, to be very, very creative, many times in combination, to where you're creating something that is like, man, I could eat this every single day. And that turns into something that is something you look forward to. When you look forward to something, you're like, I could do this for life. And that is the point. That is the opposite of what a crash diet is. That is what I call a success program. That is not a diet, that is life, right? So on top of that, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ditching the processed junk food that just triggers that inflammation. So we're talking high fat foods, fried foods, things that are processed, things that are not natural. We're talking about lean proteins, we're talking about fruits, and we're talking about vegetables. We're thinking about it this way. When we go to the grocery store, what takes the least amount of steps to get from the actual product itself? So when we're talking about meat, it goes from the meat to the butcher to the store, right? There's very, very little steps there. When we're talking about fruit, we're talking about it goes from a farm and a fruit tree and it gets delivered to the store, right? Very few steps. But when we're talking about processed foods that we find in a box on a shelf, man, first things first, look at the ingredients list. All right, that just gives you an idea of the number of steps, not to mention the actual process to clean the products before they're actually added, and utilizing, things like chlorine and things like bleach and things like that to make sure that there aren't any infections and diseases and things like that in the foods. And this is just the beginning, because the processed foods, these are going to be automatically triggering that inflammation. All right, so ditching those is a huge thing when we're talking about utilizing the right fuel. So real quick, if you're looking to lose inches, lose weight, feel better while you're doing it here, I'd love to offer you a free midsection treatment as my way of saying thank you so much for watching. Just head over to midsectionmelt.com or click the link below to grab yours now. You'll see measurable results on the spot, or we'll pay you $50 for your time. So for how to reset the hormones and also fix the metabolism, we talked about cellular detoxification. We talked about the right fuel, and now we're talking about metabolism-boosting habits. And we're going to start with fixing our sleep. Go for 8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours. By having consistency with actually getting that amount of sleep, our REM sleep and our deep sleep is going to go up. And what's going to happen here is it's going to enable the body to start working on the balancing of the hormones to get them out of that flux like we talked about here. They're going to start to actually balance. They're going to start to balance when we're talking about cortisol and leptin. Those are going to start to balance. And we're going to notice that we're getting less accumulation of belly fat, and all of a sudden, we're actually able to start losing fat with the efforts that we're making, okay? Another metabolism boosting habit, we're gonna really work on our stress here. We can do this through different breathing exercise, meditations. That's a great place to start right there, okay? And then also removing ourselves from, say, toxic relationships. Now, this is a difficult one and probably actually a presentation in itself, but we all actually have relationships that are hindering us and not helping us. Relationships that are actually taking from us and not adding to us. That is another great area we can reduce stress. And again, treat ourselves well. Reducing that stress, it's going to actually stop the belly fat hormone cycle, okay? That is a huge, huge thing because it's going to absolutely drop cortisol. Because again, remember, when the stress goes up, cortisol goes up and our belly fat goes up here. So reducing that stress stops that belly fat hormone cycle, okay? Then another thing we're going to do for metabolism boosting habits is move daily, but stop overtraining. Too much is too much. Okay, so if you're like, hey, I love to work out, great, do one workout. Hey, you know what? I love to go on 6 walks a day. Great. You know what? Maybe go on 1 to 2, right? And make sure you were keeping them relatively low in intensity level, okay? With that as well, because if your intention is to actually burn fat and to actually just get out and get some great air, it doesn't have to be an insane power walk, all right? To actually get the benefits that you're looking for here, okay? So again, moving daily. Well, when we're talking about too much is too much exercise equals hormone disaster. That is truth. 1 workout a day, great. More than that, you're really, really breaching that potentiality of overtraining right here. So how do we fix this in general? When you treat the root cause, which is cellular inflammation like we talked about here, weight loss actually happens naturally without the struggle. That's what it comes down to. And there you have it. Now you know it all starts with cellular inflammation. And when your body is inflamed, it throws off your hormones, it slows down your metabolism, and it locks in stubborn fat, especially in the midsection area. And really fixing it at the root cause being the cell itself and getting rid of that cellular inflammation through a full systemic cellular detox and feeding your body those proper nutrients in terms of lean protein, fruits, and vegetables is the only way to make your weight loss simple again. And it will. So if this connected with you and it made sense to you today, please hit follow or subscribe. I make it a point to break down fat loss in a way that no one else does. Again, I'm Trevor Buccieri. Thank you so much for investing your time with me. It is absolutely your most valuable thing, and I do not take it lightly at all that you spent it here with me. Thank you so much, and give your best to the rest of your day. Take care.